Well, hey everybody, it's Sam Walker, SamWalkerOBXNews.com on this Monday evening with our coastal storm, our nor'easter, non-tropical low pressure that developed over the last couple of days just offshore, and it's moved onshore and has brought us quite a bit today, from modular home parts ending up blocking a bridge for almost 7 hours, to wind gusts to 60 miles an hour, to exploding power poles, to just all kinds of chaos today. Wasn't expecting this. When we went into the weekend, this thing was, well, it was starting to show up on the models, but it wasn't, there was nothing out there. It was a little stalled frontal boundary well offshore that had drifted south. That's what's been stuck with this last week and gave us all the drizzly weather last week. Well, and as I've been telling everybody when I've talked about this thing, whether it's on the Carolina Weather Group podcast or with it was on WCNC in Charlotte this evening talking about it. We've been dealing with this for what? Northeast blow since beginning of August. Throw in Aaron, and now we got this. And there's quite a bit that came out of this thing. All right, first off, let's take a look at what we're dealing with right now. So I'm going to switch over to my other screen here. That's the radar. I want to go first to this satellite image of this thing. Now, ignore that big blob off to the southeast there. This is what we're dealing with. And, man, it's a strange-looking conglomeration of clouds and, well, thunderstorms. And, it's been rather potent with the wind, especially, the rain as well. We've gotten some much needed rain over the last day and a half, especially on Hatteras Island and Ocracoke. They've gotten quite a bit of rain down there, and that rain finally made its way up here. But you can see that the edge of the thickest clouds are right offshore, basically from about Duck north up over to Moyock. That's about it right now as far as the thickest clouds. But you can see offshore, there's quite a bit of convection going on out there, and some pretty substantial high clouds. It's not a large system by any stretch of the imagination, but look, it's just a typical coastal low. This is the radar. This is from windy.com. I like to use this one because it shows the lightning strikes, and there's quite a bit of lightning activity, especially right in the center of this thing. That's the radar. Now, look, it's in like a V formation, but you see that one line of heavier showers that are moving west right now, and that band going all the way down from Suffolk and on down to Havelock and off of the Crystal Coast. And then the bulk of the precipitation is just sitting right offshore. Now, the National Weather Service has issued a flood watch through early Wednesday morning, for the areas north of the Albemarle Sound. So Currituck and also Camden and on up in the Hampton Roads, Corolla included in that. I'm going to switch over to a couple of the graphics here from the National Weather Service. We haven't got anything new from Newport, so no changes there. We got a flood watch also in effect south of the Albemarle Sound as well as the Outer Banks. So all the Outer Banks is in a flood watch for potential of 2 to 3 inches, maybe some isolated spots that could get 4 or 5 inches of rain over the next 24 to 48 hours, combined with what we've already gotten today. So that's why that flood watch has been issued. But really not a lot of other graphic stuff to update you from the National Weather Service, from what we've been posting earlier today. But let me go to Wakefield's page real quick, and I can get that for you and give you just kind of a quick summary there of what they're saying. This is what they put out earlier just about an hour ago or so. I'm recording this video at 9:30, so you're seeing around 10 o'clock. Let's see here. So let me pull that, and there you go. So this is the graphic the National Weather Service put out a little while ago. Flood watch until 2 a.m. Again, northeastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, including Hampton Roads, 2 to 3 inches. Some isolated spots could see 3 to 4 possible and even 5 inches in a short period of time. So moderate to high confidence and localized flooding with that. So that's one of the many issues that have come out of this. We do have continuing a coastal flood watch for the area, for the Outer Banks. and that's for water level rises of 1 to 2 feet above ground at high tide. Now, we saw that with the high tide this afternoon, and let me go over to the Island Free Press because Joy Christ was out in this stuff this afternoon, and she got some pretty good photos coming in the motels in Buxton today. This was at 12:30. That's almost 3 hours before high tide today. And we were already getting the water over. Now, obviously, there's no dune there, and things have been so rough. We'll see what happens with the overnight high tide around 3 a.m., and the next high tide is around 3:34 in the afternoon on Tuesday. Weather Service is kind of backing down on any issues extending past the high tide overnight because they feel like the winds are going to die out somewhat as we get into the early morning hours tomorrow. But you can see there that overwash, blowing foam over on the right side by the Cape Hatteras Motel sign. There was a couple other images. That was Ocracoke earlier in the day, around midday. Now, about an hour or a half after that shot, we got a word from Ocracoke that they were seeing a breach in the dunes at there between the pony pens and the pony pens, and I'm scrolling down through, so bear with me a second. Between the pony pens and the North End Ferry Dock. So they ended up actually closing Highway 12 between the pony pens and the ferry dock on Ocracoke for the rest of the day. Yeah, here's that photo I was going to pull. This is from my story at samwalkerobxnews.com. This is from NCDOT. So this was around 3:30. You can see right there in front of that NCDOT tractor, you can see where that one breach is. And because that's been breached this afternoon, they decided to go ahead and close the road on that end of Ocracoke through the rest of tonight and until first light tomorrow. So that'll get through the high tide that's coming up again in the early morning hours around 3 a.m. So that's what the situation is on Ocracoke. Here, I'll pull it back to me real quick. Well, actually, you know what? I can scroll down and just show you those graphics. We talked about wind advisory. That's expected to drop at 2 a.m. because the winds are expected to die out as we get into the early morning hours. After midnight tonight, we'll see the winds die off. So one nice thing that's going to happen is the winds are going to be dying off. That may help with our situation as far as any potential overwash. But that didn't help earlier today. This is the scene from Rex Mann this afternoon on the Basnight Bridge. Rex Mann at Mechanics in Wanchese, who he posted a photo. He was dispatched out because he's got the big rigs and went out there and dispatched out. This is part of a modular home that was blown off its trailer and onto the guardrail of the Basnight Bridge. Now, this is up at the top of the Basnight Bridge on the Pea Island side where the slope starts going back down. So it had made it almost across. Now, the other half of this house actually made it to Pea Island. It made it across, but that must have been a sketchy ride because we've seen posts from folks saying that it was sketch all day, whether they're driving a panel truck, towing a trailer, whatever. It has been a rather rough day wind-wise. So that's what that started with. Then we got, as the night wore on, or afternoon wore on, we thought they had gotten it off. Rex said he couldn't pull it off, that it was just blowing so hard on the bridge that they got it on the trailer, but they weren't able to drive because they were worried that it might continue to blow off. Well, things finally calmed down enough after 8 o'clock that they finally got it off the bridge and got traffic moving again. So almost 7 hours, folks were stuck. That was the scene on the NCDOT camera right on the south end of the bridge, looking towards Pea Island. The traffic's just backed up. Those folks that were right here, they were there the whole time. This is what it looked like around 10 minutes to 9. And obviously it's very blurry because of all the salt and the rain and all, but you can see the vehicles actually headed south and vehicles moving north. But the traffic was backed all the way up, good gosh, at least 5 miles, if not farther, by the time that they finally opened things up. But all those folks that had to sit there for 6 hours on either side of the bridge to get across. So that has been cleared. That was one of the things that happened. Another thing that happened was earlier in the day in Kitty Hawk, this happened. Boom. That is a power pole right across in TW's in front of the Nags Head Post Office. That's Hurricane Moe's behind it. And right at the US 158 Kitty Hawk Road intersection. Pow. And that knocked out power to like 3,900 folks initially. They eventually got that down to just one, which was the post office and TW's. Didn't have any power for a while because what happened there is you got the salt built up on all that equipment up there on that pole, and we got the light rain that started, and it created an arc, and boom, that's what you get. Everybody, and there's a lot of folks that have commented. I can remember growing up as a kid, this was a common occurrence on the Outer Banks. This was almost a regular whenever we got a northeast blow. It's gotten a lot better over the years, but this was the perfect situation. You've had a northeast blow for days, weeks, whatever it was. All that salt is built up, and then you get just a light rain, light enough that it just creates enough to get that conductivity going, and boom, that's what you get with that. All right, so what's going to happen with the next 12 to 24 hours? Well, we're still going to see the winds up. We're still going to see the surf up. The winds, let me take that back. The winds are going to die off some here over the next couple hours, going into the overnight hours and early on Tuesday. We do have the potential for seeing quite a bit of rain out of this over the next 24 to 48 hours. And then things will finally clear out by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. Still going to be kind of a little breezy, but we're going to be wrapping up into the final weekend of summer. It looks like the temperature's going to be in the 70s. So this cool pattern that we've been in for 6 weeks, essentially, 7 weeks almost, well, at least since the beginning of August, it's going to continue. And we're missing out on local summer, it looks like, as far as being in the heat and humidity. Some of us like that, some don't. But anyway, again, winds should die off in the overnight hours. We'll see the rain possibly moving onshore overnight. That may drop an inch or two. We need that rain because we are in this early stages of drought here in northeastern North Carolina. And we'll just see what happens. But there you go. That's just some of the stuff that happened. Oh, yeah, I didn't even get to the wind gust. The wind gust graphic we got for the National Weather Service, which is pretty cool to show. And I had the totals, but the peak was, again, 60 miles an hour at Jeanette's Pier at 1:30 this afternoon, 59 at Duck Pier, 58 at the Oregon Inlet Coast Guard Station, 55 at Real Kiteboarding there in Waves, and Avon at 55, 54 at the Diamond Shoals Buoy. Way offshore, the Oregon Inlet Sensor from Weatherflow was at 54, as was the Kitty Hawk Kites Resort and Waves at 54. The Oregon Inlet Marina had 54. 53 at Nags Head Town Hall. Rodanthe, 52. Out in the Sound in Avon, it was 53. The Roanoke Sound Channel, 52. Out in the middle of the Pamlico Sound, 52. And at Hatteras High School, it was 51. Those were the ones at top 50. A lot of 40s and 30s. As well, but the peak one was 60 at Jeanette's Pier at 1:30 this afternoon. All those big wind gusts happened sometime in the span between 1 and 3 this afternoon. A couple of them were earlier in the day, but for the most part, everything was really then. That was a report we had this afternoon. Now, we do possibly could see some of those more wind gusts tonight in the next couple hours, but it seems like things are backing down. So there you go. That's a wrap up on what happened with our no-name storm or nor'easter or coastal low, whatever it is. It does look a little bit like, I've seen some people posting stuff that said, hey, it's round and it's curling and all that stuff. They do that. That's what low pressures do. No name to it. It's non-tropical, but hey, what do we just call this? Monday on the Outer Banks. So there you go. We'll keep you up to date at samwalkerobxnews.com. See ya.